It is Monday today, and I have decided to start a new reading vlog, and we're gonna start it in my kitchen because I need to make an iced coffee. I just started the washer, so we are washing some clothes. I also cleaned up my room a little bit, picked everything up, made my bed, all that fun stuff. It is currently noon, it's 12. I had sort of a late breakfast, so I'm not really worried about breakfast. And yeah, we're wearing the Darkling shirt, super cute, super fun. And yeah, I just decided that I would start this video off by making my coffee, mainly because I'm not currently reading anything. Like, I haven't started anything at the moment. I'm actually DNFing a book that I started 2 days ago, a day ago. No, I think I started it yesterday. We're DNFing that book mainly because I'm just really bored by it. I have been DNFing books left and right lately because I have been super picky. I feel like usually I can give a book like 50% before DNFing it, because sometimes books take a while to really get into their groove. However, lately I've only been giving books about like 10 to 20%. If a book doesn't grab me and take me on a fun little ride by the 10 to 20% mark, especially in an audiobook, we're not gonna have it. Like, it's just incompatible for me. So definitely been DNFing books a lot more lately, which I think is fine. I think that's, you know, good. I think it shows growth. I think it shows that I know even more the kind of books that I want to read. So we're gonna make my coffee, then we're gonna figure out what I want to read for today. So this is the stuff I've been currently using, obviously. Always the Starbucks iced coffee, dark roast. Love it. Sometimes I do the Stoke brand. It really doesn't matter either way. It's all good. I just got this from Grocery Outlet. This is Silk Next Milk, 2% reduced fat. Plant-based, obviously, but this is what they had at Grocery Outlet, so I was like, let's try it. It tastes really good. It's totally fine. And then I've been really into making mochas, so I just do like a tablespoon of Hershey syrup and syrup, I don't know, and then I just make myself a mocha. It is currently the 29th of August, which means that tomorrow is pumpkin spice latte day. We are finally getting pumpkin spice lattes at Starbucks, so I'm gonna go get a cup. I am so excited about pumpkin spice lattes. Literally cannot explain to you how excited I am about them. Okay, so we're just gonna take we're gonna do the milk first, I think. Let's just do a little bit of milk, like that much. That might be too much. And then a little bit of that. There you go. Literally just chocolate milk and coffee. There we go. We'll fill it up about that much because we need to put ice in it anyway. And there you have it. Iced mocha. Really good. Really delicious. Makes the best coffee. So now that I've made my coffee, we are gonna go figure out what book I want to read. I do have an Audible subscription right now because my dad gave me his subscription for the month, and so I have some audiobooks I might want to listen there. And then I also just got a 2-month free trial of Kindle Unlimited, so there are also some books on there that I want to read. I'm not really sure what I want to do at the moment, so yeah, we'll think about it. Also, I don't know if you have all heard, I'm sure you have at this point, especially if you follow me, you've definitely heard, but Taylor Swift announced TS10, which, oh my god, it's called Midnights. I'm so excited. I still can't believe it. It feels like it's not real. It feels like it's not real. I don't know how she does it. I don't know. She is like who I aspire to be productively. Not necessarily like on her level. Like, I could never produce as much content as she does, ever. Especially not at that quality level. Like, there's no way that I could do that. She just really outdoes herself every time. And I know she has a lot more like support than I do, and like she has the money and the privilege and everything in order to be able to create that much. But if I could even have like a fraction of her productivity and creativity, I just would thrive, honestly. Let's get into the books that I have access to at the moment. I kind of feel like I want to do like an Audible original or something. I did use a credit to get The Romantic Agenda by Claire Kahn, and as much as I'm really excited to read that book and I know I'm gonna love it, I am not really in like a full-on romance mood. I don't know, maybe I am, I'm not really sure. Like, let's see what I have on here. I did save a few Audible originals. I was recommended What the Hex by Alexis Daria. That one seems really interesting, and I love the cover. The cover makes me crack up so hard because it looks like Episode, which I used to play Episode all the time, like literally all the time. I actually have the Choices app on my phone right now because I was like really into that for a little bit. I love those kind of games, like role-playing games, so much fun. And that's what it looks like, so I might like it. It's only 2 hours and 45 minutes long. It's really short. And then I also saw this book called I, Auto House by Jish Jen. I don't know how to pronounce this name. But this one seemed really interesting. It kind of seems like a spin on Smart House, the DCOM, which I get, like, that's not like an original idea, so I can't really say it's a spin on that movie, but it sounds kind of like that. I also saved The Stand-In by Lily Chu, which I actually own a copy of right here. I have The Stand-In. I got it from Target. I didn't realize that this would be like free on Audible. It's also a signed copy, which is kind of cute right there. So we could read this if I really wanted to, which I think is kind of a cute little like Princess and the Pauper sort of story. Another one is Call Me Maybe by Cara Bastone. And that one looks really interesting. I don't know what that one's about though. Not really sure. But I was just, you know, I could still look through some other like Audible originals or whatever. I also have Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher. The City Beautiful by Aiden Polydoros, I want to say is how you pronounce it. I don't know. I'm so sorry. I try my best to pronounce names as accurately as possible. What do I have on Libby? Easy Beauty by Chloe Cooper Jones. It's a memoir. I've been like really into memoirs lately. I do think I kind of want to read Tender as the Flesh by, I don't know who this is by. It's not saying. Oh, Augustina Basterica. I can't really read that small font. I need my glasses on. And then I also, obviously I'm in the middle of the Love Con by Ceresia Glass, which I'm really liking. I also have The Death of Jane Lawrence by Caitlin Starling, and Sirens and Muses by Antonia Angris, which sounds so good. I've heard so many good things about this book, and the cover, like, I will show you the cover. I don't have to show you it on my phone, but like, oh my gosh, this cover is gorgeous. I want it to hang up on my wall so bad, so bad. That's why I really need to get hired. I've been, okay, if we're gonna talk about like job stuff, oh my god, it is a flippin' mess out there, honest to God. I have been looking for a job for months. I don't even know how many like applications I've sent in, how many jobs I've applied for. It's gotta be in the hundreds at this point. And it's literally, I don't know how I'm not getting hired. I am so frustrated. I have applied not only to like office jobs and like remote work and stuff like that, I have also applied to like Ulta, to Starbucks, to the grocery store, Ross, Marshalls, all of that. I have not heard anything back. It is so weird, and I know that so many people are going through this as well. I've seen so many tweets, so many TikToks, etc. literally talking about this, how like, and like it's so funny because every older person, like anybody older than 40 that I talk to about this, they're like, oh, I bet you're having like a really easy time looking for a job, and like I bet this is like a really great market to like look for a job in. And I'm like, no, it's literally not. Like, because so many people are like claiming to be hiring or like putting it out there, and they're not really hiring. They never reach out to me, they never get back to me, and months later they're still hiring, they're still looking for that same position to be filled. And I'm like, didn't I apply? Like, what's the problem? Like, what are we doing? So yeah, like I genuinely don't understand why it's so hard to get a job right now. Like, it's insane to me. So yeah, that's just like my gripe. Anyway, let's pick out a book. I think we're going to go with Tender is the Flesh, right? Like, should we do that one? Because clearly, and I believe this is horror, right? This would be classified as horror. And I also believe that this is this a translated work? I have been reading a lot of translated books recently. It was translated by Sarah Moses, which is great. This was published back in 2020. And basically this book kind of sounds like it's following this guy that works at a processing plant, and he is in the business of slaughtering humans and human flesh, like consuming human flesh, I believe, or buying it or whatever, becomes illegal because a virus has made all animal meat poisonous to humans. So this is going to be a really interesting book to read. I am really trying to dip my toes into horror. I have always been into scary stories, horror stories, not necessarily movies, but more like creepypastas or No Sleep or whatever. I've always, like, literally ever since I had, you know, I understood how to use the internet, I have been looking up scary stories. I love them. So I always found it really weird that I never really got into the horror genre, because I think I'll really like it. So we're gonna try it out. I'm really excited. I am nervous. But I did actually recently read a little translated horror novella almost, and that was called Fever Dream by Samantha Schweblin. And that was pretty good. So I think I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars, 3.5 or something like that, and I did really enjoy it. Then I also read the thriller In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead, which I really enjoyed. I gave that a 4 out of 5 stars. So yeah, I think we're gonna try to get into horror and thriller, especially before October. So yeah, we're gonna read Tender is the Flesh. I'm so excited. We're gonna light this candle. Let's see if we can light it while taking a video. Amazing. Also, I've been eyeing this stack of books specifically, so let me know in the comments if like any of these are ones that you think I should read immediately. Because you know what, like this one, kind of catching my eye. Same with this one, and really all of them, but like I just don't know where to start in the stack. Okay, so I am currently 42% of the way through Tender is the Flesh, and I have some thoughts, honestly. It's kind of, for me at the moment, both interesting and also not interesting. Like, I feel like it's going by very monotonous. It's very much like following this guy through his like everyday life of like working in this facility that sells human meat to, I'm guessing, like slaughterhouses and stuff like that. And I'm just like not feeling it because it's just so mundane in a way. It's so like almost like, I wouldn't say it's necessarily boring, it's just, I don't know, I'm not like totally vibing with it, but I do kind of want to see what happens, so I think we're gonna continue with it. I only have 2 hours left of the audiobook, technically 4, but I read at 2 times speed, so 2 hours, which isn't bad. I'll be done by like 5. But so far it's not horrible, it's not that bad. It's entertaining enough, and I don't really have a lot of other thoughts about it. It's just, it is what it is. and it's not really as gross or gruesome or anything as I thought it would be. I thought I'd feel like sick, but no, it's fine. So yeah, that's like my update for now. Okay, so I finished Tender is the Flesh. I don't even know what to think about it because I feel like I spoke too soon on saying it was a little boring, mainly because it ended up getting interesting by the time I like stopped vlogging and turned the audiobook back on. A lot of stuff happened after that. So I don't even know how to rate this, mainly because like I don't typically read horror. So I've found that it's really difficult for me to rate these kind of books because I don't know what to think about them. This one, similarly to the other book that I read, the other horror book I read, Fever Dream, I feel like they're both less horror and more just like social commentary, which I think is really interesting. I liked parts of it. I think it's a very solid 3-star for me, but like also I don't necessarily have a frame of reference for like what a 1-star horror book is and what a 5-star horror book is. I can only judge it based on like how I would judge just like general literature in like, you know, I don't have any like frame of reference for the genre, which I think is why I'm finding rating it super difficult. So we'll think about it. I think it's gonna get a 3-star either way. So we're gonna return this to the library. There it goes. Say goodbye. Yep, there it went. And we're going to figure out what to read next. The other 2 audiobooks that I have that I would like to read are 13 hours long each. So I don't really know if they're the kind of book that I would like to read at the moment. Not really sure. I'm going to check out some of the other like shorter audiobooks that I can find, possibly. Maybe we'll even look on Hoopla. So I will be right back. Okay, so it is now, as you can see, officially dark outside, and I have had my dinner, all of that fun stuff, and I found an audiobook for Night of the Mannequins by Stephen Graham Jones. And he's an author that I've definitely wanted to read from in the past, and I still do want to read from, so I figured why not. This book is only like 133 pages long, I think, so it shouldn't be a very long book. We should probably get done with it in about like an hour and a half maybe. It's approximately 3 hours long, so with 2 times speed it'll be done in an hour and a half, so that's awesome. I also found some other horror like short books that I could possibly read as well. Those probably won't, I probably won't get to any of those until tomorrow, so we'll see how I'm feeling then. But yeah, we're gonna start this book, see how it goes. Basically the premise of the story is that like this group of friends decides to prank one of their friends that works at a movie theater, and they get this mannequin and things go incredibly wrong and shit happens. So I'm gonna be really excited to read this because I've heard some really great things about Stephen Graham Jones, and I think that this will be an interesting place to start because I've never heard anything about this book before. Excuse my hair and my makeupless face. I also have a pimple. I am currently, I can't see that far, I think I'm 45% of the way through Night of the Mannequins, and I am not liking it. Mainly because this is my big gripe with it, because I feel like when you're writing a short, scary horror story, you don't want 50% of your narrative to be told secondhand, or just like told from the past tense of like the main character telling what happened instead of actually experiencing what happened, at least in my opinion. Other people might have different opinions, that's totally fine. But for me personally, I don't want to hear this kid like retell what happened to him or what he did, because it's not going into any detail. It's literally just like, me and my friends pulled this prank and like shit got weird and I ended up killing somebody, and that's literally the entire narrative. No detail, no like interesting like things happening, no description of anything. It's just very straightforward, like how a teenage boy would retell this thing that happened to him. And it's like not interesting, because I'm sorry, but teenage boys are horrible storytellers. And like, no, it's just not working for me. So we're gonna DNF it, because absolutely not, it's not giving me anything. I literally do not want to continue with this book. So sorry, Stephen Graham Jones. I'm sure that his like fuller, long length like actual novels are good, but this short story is not good. It's not good. There's no redeeming quality about it. It's just poorly written, and I hate to say that. So that's a bummer. But we're gonna move on to a different audiobook. Maybe we'll do something a little bit different. Maybe we'll do a longer book. Yeah, we'll do a longer book. I'm thinking maybe we should read The Death of Jane Lawrence instead. So that's 13 hours long, which means that it's going to take me 6.5 hours, which isn't horrible. It's not bad. I feel like if we start it right now, we should be in a pretty good spot. So we'll start it right now, see how I like it, and then maybe I will update you all in the morning. It's August 30th, the next day, like literally. It is currently 11:30. I think that means it's been 24 hours. I don't know. This isn't technically a 24-hour readathon, so I don't really know why it matters. But I did just get ready. I'm not really going anywhere today. I just felt the desire to like look presentable, I guess. I don't know. I did do like this very interesting like little bubble braid hairstyle. It kind of goes all the way in the back. I don't know if you can see that. My hair is so dark. Anyway, I started this book last night, The Death of Jane Lawrence by Caitlin Starling. And I do own it physically, which is really exciting. I'm really glad that I decided to pick it up last night because I am loving it so far. I think it's making me realize how much I absolutely love gothic literature. I think gothic literature, gothic horror, that kind of stuff is what I'm really interested in and I'm really into. So really glad to have this book and to be reading it. It's giving me very much like Stalking Jack the Ripper vibes, which I love. I mean, that's like a total plus for me because I love that book. And then it's also reminding me of this other book that I read, I think last year. And that book is called Within These Wicked Walls by Lauren Blackwood, which I absolutely loved and is definitely reminding me of this book as well. Probably even more so than Stalking Jack the Ripper, honestly. Like, Within These Wicked Walls is like gothic, it's a retelling of Jane Eyre, and this is also giving me that kind of vibe, which I'm loving. So it'll be really interesting to see what I think as I go through this book. And I was looking on Goodreads, you know, looking at kind of the reviews and like everything like that. I was surprised to see that it has a really low rating on Goodreads. It's at a 3.2 stars, which is just mind-boggling. I mean, I've only read less than 10% of this book, so I don't know if I can necessarily judge it, but I'm shocked because I am really enjoying this so far. But I guess it's not super surprising because a lot of people didn't like Stalking Jack the Ripper either, and I loved it. So clearly I have very different tastes when it comes to these kind of books. So not super popular, which is unfortunate. But yeah, so far I'm absolutely enthralled by this book and I can't wait to read more of it. It's not a super long book. It's less than 400 pages, so I should be able to get through it. But I do have to go make an iced coffee right now. I'm currently listening to American Hysteria's episode on snuff films. So that's like a fun little light topic. I actually have listened to two of their episodes about it. One of them was with Sarah Marshall from obviously my favorite podcast, You're Wrong About. If you watch my videos and don't listen to You're Wrong About, what are you doing? Literally the best podcast I've ever listened to, next to like Maintenance Phase, but like they're basically sister podcasts, so obviously they're going to be really good. And American Hysteria is also very similar to You're Wrong About, so if you like that podcast, you're going to love American Hysteria. It's such a good one. Kind of goes through similar topics, but they don't always like cover the same exact things within those topics. But they have they kind of do like series where they'll make specific episodes about certain things within a topic. And I've listened to all the other snuff with Sarah Marshall of You're Wrong About episode. I listened to the Rotten.com episode, and now I'm kind of going backwards. I am listening to the Snuff Films episode, so that'll be really interesting to listen to. They have so many good topics on here, and I love it. So yeah, that is what I'm doing today. A little update, not much else to say about anything, which is kind of a bummer. And we will read more of The Death of Jane Lawrence. I'm so excited to finish this and make it kind of like one of my last books of August.
I mean, catching a lot in the zone, and the Giants have not been able to catch up to it.
Okay, so it is currently, it's currently 1 o'clock. And I have just gotten ready. I didn't do my makeup today, as you can see, because I've had this pimple right here and it has not gone away. It's starting to go away though. It looks a lot better. And my eyeball has been very inflamed lately. I'm currently burning a candle. This is a coffee house candle from Page Turning Candle Co. I'm gonna blow it out because it's been burning for a while. I also did my nails because my other ones came off yesterday. Actually my like thumbnail split, so I was like, you know what, we're just gonna take them off, it's not a big deal. And I redid them today and I did them green. This color by Sally Hansen. I don't know if we'll do a little bit of like a beauty guru thing, but this is the color Made in Jade. Gorgeous. This is like one of their like 98-cent colors, so very affordable, very cute. They look great. Still currently in the middle of this book. I am 73 pages in and I'm hoping to finish it today. I think I have about 6 hours left, I want to say. Let's check. Oh, actually I have about 5.5 hours left, a little bit less than that. So yeah, we definitely can finish this today as long as we just start listening to it right now and don't stop. So yeah, we're gonna read the rest of this book. I'm so excited. We're ready to read this book and enjoy it. Yeah. I really like my bangs today. I think they're looking really good. Like all the little like wispy parts back here are super cute. Other than that, I don't really have any other updates. And yeah, I mean, once we finish The Death of Jane Lawrence, then that is the vlog. I'm so excited. I feel like I really want to get back into vlogging. I just haven't been very good at being like consistent with like filming vlog clips, but I feel like when I give myself kind of a time frame of like, okay, I want to do it from like today until like 2 days from now, it's a little bit easier. Also, the mail person just came and I'm supposed to get a package for my brother and I don't know if they have it or not. I guess we'll see. Anyway, I'm gonna go make myself a coffee, hopefully get the package for my brother, and talk to you later. Okay, so a little bit of an update. It is currently September 1st. I did not finish the book yesterday, which was kind of a bummer, but it's totally fine. It's not that big of a deal. Also, if I look like disgusting, it's because I've been at Starbucks all day, just like chilling, reading, writing, all that kind of stuff. So I probably don't look that great, but that's okay. So I did finish The Death of Jane Lawrence by Caitlin Starling. Here it is in all of its glory. This book was so surprising to me. I don't know why, because it's like, I bought this book. I used a Barnes & Noble gift card to buy this book, so I should have had like a feeling that I would like it, but for some reason, I remember when I bought this being like, I don't know if I can describe this book. I was like reading the synopsis and I'm like, I'm reading it, but I don't really know if I understand what it's about. I'm not great with synopses anyway, so I, can't really exactly blame the synopsis itself, but I do remember just being like, what are we doing? Like, what are we talking about? What is this gonna be? I don't really get it. But I love the cover and I love Gothic literature, so I was like, I'm gonna give it a try. We're gonna, take a chance on it. And I'm so glad that I did, because I absolutely loved this book, like so much more than I could have ever expected. This book is like the definition of unsettling, strange, weird, and I think that's why a lot of people really did not like it. It kind of reminds me of another book that I have called, it kind of reminds me of this book, Vasa in the Night by Sarah Porter. Not really because they're at all similar in premise, but because of the way that readers reacted to this book is very similar to how people reacted to Vasa in the Night. They have very similar overall ratings on Goodreads, and people dislike this book for the same reason they dislike this book. So if you're looking for like really weird, unsettling, semi-horror kind of books, these two, like these are the ones that I would recommend. I loved Vasa in the Night. I'm actually considering rereading it for October, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. But yeah, they're both like very narratively weird. The characters are really weird. The concept is very strange and like a little disjointed. Nothing really makes like the most complete sense, and that's kind of why I like it. I like when books take a chance and take a risk, and especially in things that are like semi-fantastical or even like fantasy, I really like when things aren't fully explained. I know some people need like a fully explained world building or magic system or whatever. I am not personally like that. I don't need an author to like fully explain a magic system to me. I got it. I will come along on the ride with you. As long as it's not like ridiculous or anything, I will usually go along with the author and just like take their word for it. I think this also happens a lot in the Mirror Visitor series by Christelle DeBow. Those books are also very strange and weird, and not everybody's going to understand them. But those kind of end up being some of my favorite books, where it's just very like strange and like you can't really describe it. And I think what I liked about this book so much is the main character. I mean, Jane is so weird and interesting, and I like made an update about this book being like, Jane is so me coded, and I initially said that she was autistic coded as well, but I actually read from the author that she is autistic, and I was like, no wonder I love her so much. No wonder I feel so connected to her. No wonder I'm really seeing myself in this character. So that was also really special to me, and probably why I really enjoyed it. And I also really loved the romance. Like, I was not expecting to have like a huge romance in this book, even though it is mentioned that like she marries this guy and whatever. It's very fast. It's very almost insta-lovey. So if you don't like insta-love, this might not be the book for you. I personally don't mind insta-love, depending on how an author goes about doing it. I would say like 7 times out of 10, I enjoy the insta-love plot. But there are other times where it like does not work for me, and that's totally fine. But this instance, it absolutely worked for me. It was so amazing, so perfect, and I just loved it so much. It was so good. Like, I don't even know like I want to like say certain things about like what I loved, but I also don't want to spoil this book too much. I wouldn't recommend this book to everybody. Not everyone's gonna get it, not everybody's gonna love it, it's not gonna connect with everybody, and that's totally fine. But if you like really weird books that don't go into like really deep explanations of like magic or whatever, and you enjoy like a good gothic inspired book, this would be perfect for you. You're gonna love it. It's so much fun. I will say that the pacing is a little weird, but in a good way. It kind of adds to the unsettling nature of this book, and I think that that's just like the genius of it. It's just, it works on so many levels for me, and I highly recommend it. So yeah, this was a great book. So yeah, that was the entire vlog. I had a really good time like getting to read some like different kinds of horror. Some of it didn't work for me, all the, you know, even though I really wanted it to. I feel like I'm still trying to find my specific niche within horror. I feel like gothic horror is really like where it's at for me, and I also do seem to gravitate towards horror that kind of has a social political element to it. So I think that, you know, if I go looking for those kind of books, I will find the kind of horror that I like. I do have a few other like horror thriller books on my shelf that I definitely want to read. I've like been looking at Baby Teeth for so long, and I think I might want to read it. So maybe we'll have to do a part 2 of like me reading horror books, and that would be so much fun. I will say that the death of Jane Lawrence was a lot scarier than I thought it was gonna be. It like really dialed it up, so I was really happy about that. But yeah, so that was the entire vlog. I hope you all enjoyed it. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this video. Give it a like, and all of my links are down below. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Goodreads, TikTok, Storygraph. They're all down below in the description, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!
Ooh, I thought it'd be me and you. Oh.